Actually, you know what? Since we're technically a week behind, let's go chapter 17 Kaiju.
Okay, we can do the kaiju.
It just kind of makes sense to me.
And we're on chapter 17.
Yeah, man, hard to believe. This series is pushing into its fourth month now. Actually, it's only every 3 weeks, so I guess we're pushing almost 6
Yeah.
or 5. Sorry, Jesus, can't count. Still can't count. So yeah, man, the fight with this humanoid kaiju
This mushroom
is
flathead.
escalating, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see like the support suit they have on actually like kind of. I mean, he still takes damage, but you can see it. It hasn't the bullets that he received, or I guess the damage he received, hasn't gone fully through. Because it seemed like the last chapter, you're like, oh man, he's like done. But I mean, there's only so much damage the suit seems to take, and it very
Absorb, yeah.
yeah, and it actually reminds me of the Gans's suit a little bit. Probably not.
You know what's funny? I've only seen a little bit, but you're right. I would agree with that completely. They are very reminiscent, very sleek but very powerful kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and it's probably something we haven't talked about. But their suit design, yeah, aside from like it being very similar properties, probably not as strong as the Gans suits because those are pretty like when you get it up there, it's pretty powerful. They have like a Skeletor kind of like thing on their back. And I'm like wondering, like, I wonder who made these, because this world is still new to us as readers. So definitely want to see more into it. But like, the Flathead Kaiju, man, he's really like just relentless.
Yeah, well, I mean, Reno's on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just keeps like trying to shoot him, dude. I'm also wondering if they're trying to capture more of these defense like task force soldiers. Because on page 3, he's like, it's surprisingly difficult killing off a human's motor functions without actually killing them, that is. So I'm wondering if, maybe they're trying to collect some of these soldiers to figure out, like, how they can further counter them, right? Because,
Probably, yeah.
know your enemy and stuff like that.
That's why I said in last week, he's probably a scout, man.
Yeah, well, we won't get into semantics over scout and recon and infiltrator again, but yeah, for sure. I think that's probably his role. Either that or, as weird as he is, maybe he's like a scientist and he creates additional types of kaiju. Yeah. So he sends them out into field. He's like a field researcher. He tests them out and then tries to critique it further to make it better and more powerful, right?
Yeah, it could be that too. But as you see, Reno getting like shot up again, and this guy really, I like him, man. He knows he's not the best, and he still wants to like protect his like basically crewmate or like a teammate, I should say. And
Haru, yeah. I like Haru as well. Character so far. I just like that he gelled with Reno, and that the reason he came back is like the rivalry. Yeah. I liked that kind of from last chapter, right? He's like, oh, I'm gonna come save you, man. I think also what's interesting is, let's stick with Reno a little bit, and then maybe we'll just kind of come back to the Kaiju after. Or sorry, not Reno. Reno will stick with Haru for a little bit.
Yeah.
This chapter is very focused on him and his mentality, right?
I mean, he is
he's trying to shoot him and keep him alive. And there's clearly, like, he's trying to kind of surpass himself as a human, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm going to make captain someday for sure. Like, you're out of your mind if you think I'm letting it end here. So he's clearly motivated, and I like that. He's not the type of guy to run away.
Well, he's admitting that Reno is going to make captain someday. Like, he acknowledges Reno's, like, better than him. So, especially in, like, a do-or-die situation, like, he's pushing on, which I think is kind of, like, very evident for, like, his character. Even, like, I mean, obviously, character design is always, like, different. You don't expect someone like that in another manga to be, like, that heartfelt, I guess, or I can't think of another word.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right, heartfelt, because this character design is usually very punky, right?
Yeah.
So you don't usually see like as much emotion kind of thing. I would agree. So I think it's good to see it there. It's kind of funny that you're saying that, because the heartfelt aspect, at least, because when you go to like the next page over, I guess we're looking at 8 and 9. He's like there on his knees, right? And he's like, please God, it can be a demon or even the devil himself for all I care. Just please save Reno. Please save my friend. Yeah. So it's like right there really embodying kind of the heartfelt nature that you're talking about, which is really cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that question, to be honest with you? Because like, it's interesting to me that the way it's phrased, because it goes from God to demon, and then the devil himself, and then, you know, what happens on the next page. You know, Kafka's standing right behind him. The only one dying here is you, dirtbag. And
yeah, like that's such a sick. That is such a sick page. Just like the
so good. Like all the like,
one eye.
and, like,
Yeah, like
off. Oh man.
just like you could just see like the anger, like the oh man, and he's like hesitant. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, right. Like the flathead Kaiju. Literally, all I can think of is the meme, and that was the moment Jimmy knew he fucked up. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I see when I see that panel. But sorry, yeah. Like, how do you? I don't know. How did you feel about? I guess the phrasing of that.
Well,
like, do you think there's supposed to be some foreshadowing there, maybe to?
I didn't see that as foreshadowing. I saw it more like just the desperate, like just asking for anybody, like just anybody, and like they live in like I don't want to say a harsh environment world. It's just that they live in a world where like kaiju exists, and he has a job to like extinguish. You know, like monsters are real. So, I don't know if that was more like a. Oh, maybe we'll see something scarier. You know what I mean? But I guess it's more like when he said like even the devil himself, you know, or the demon, like, you know, you see Kafka coming up is like because he is essentially like we still don't know, you know, why he has his power, or why he's able to like, you know, become a kaiju-esque, you know, person. So yeah, you know, who's to say?
The way that I guess I kind of looked at it was, for Haru to kind of be phrasing it that way and break it down that way, I think he might come into the fold. Well, I guess he's obviously maybe got to come to the fold of knowing like Kafka's identity, because, you know, by saying that, you're kind of admitting like you don't care what happens. Like I'll agree with anything at this point, just like save my friend. Yeah. So to see like him come in and make that kind of statement, I feel, you know, if he gets further ingrained into the story and the dynamic going on here between Kafka and Reno, that, you know, that was a good way to kind of set it up to be like, you know, I'm gonna follow with you kind of thing, because if Haru wants to support Reno's supporting Kafka, so, you know, you're forming this nice little group to kind of back up the Kaiju number 8, if you will, and keep a secret, help him out, those sorts of things, which, as weird as it sounds, are some of the most important parts in a series where secret identity is such an important thing.
Yeah.
Which, actually, I'm going to throw that out to you. That's kind of something I've never really thought of before. For the most part, shonen heroes are very open in terms of their identity and who they are, and I think it's very interesting that this is, at least for me, as a reader, one of the few in the last couple of years that have been really, really big mainstays, where the character is actually very much in the background and like trying to hide who he is, and there's almost a comic book-esque desire to keep the secret identity safe from the rest of the world, kind of thing.
Well, it's very much comic book-esque for sure, and very much like similar to Kamen Rider or Ultraman, where like some of their identities are kept in a secret. You know, so, and obviously, you know, kaiju being a very like namesake in Japan, we're like, oh, okay, you know, kaijus are like a culture thing over there. So it's just, you know, is I don't want to say it's flipped on its head, because I'm pretty sure there's other stories similar to it, but like Kaiju number 8, you know, Kefla turned into a kaiju is kind of similar how like I forgot what's his name, but basically and anyone from like Ultraman, where like they become like this like powerful alien thing, you know. So, or even like another series, SSS Gridman, where like the main character becomes this like alien thing or robot kind of. It's kind of confusing.
Well, yeah, because he like fuses with like the bike or whatever, right? Like,
he fuses. It's so like weird and confusing. It's very strange. So no, I know what you mean. It's very like a comic book where like he needs to keep his identity. I don't know how long that's gonna stay though, if I'm being honest. When it comes to like this manga, I feel like eventually they will have to like work together.
It's got to come out of the bag. Agreed, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
if I'm being honest, I feel like it'll be sooner rather than later. And I don't know if it'll be right directly after this arc. I mean, what do you think? You think he'll get revealed in this after this whole event that's happening right now?
To be honest, that's an excellent question.
By like the vice
because
captain.
I understand where you're coming from, because sometimes I have to keep my identity secret from people thing, it can get really irritating. You know what I mean? Because maybe not irritating is the right term, but it becomes cumbersome and it becomes repetitive because series can get very locked into this sequential thing of, okay, it's another of he's struggling to keep his identity a secret. How do we work it into the arc, into the story, and not just like have it blow out of the water? So I honestly don't actually really have any ideas yet. I don't think right now. Maybe if I had to just shoot something out there, I think it's still a little too early. Excuse me. We don't have enough information on, what that kaiju that turned him into this was. We don't have enough background information on like so many of the other things. So, we'll have to see. It's obviously going to be the cat out of the bag sometime, but I don't know.
It'll definitely be a big, I'm hoping it'll be a big moment similar to like, I don't want to say similar, but, kind of like when in Attack on Titan when Eren was like, okay, well obviously he's the Titan and stuff like that, and how they have to deal with it. Where do we execute him or do we like use him? You know what I mean? So I think it'll be kind of like somewhat similar to that, where like do we or as soon as they see him, I mean however this fight's gonna turn out, as soon as the whole squad sees Kefla as the kaiju, like are they gonna? I mean they're probably gonna straight up shoot him, and he has to like escape and try to turn back. But going back to this panel though, it's so great. It's so great. Like this guy's terrified, and then the next page him getting punched, and it's like,
oh, the head goes flying off. Oh, yeah. So crazy.
Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. Finish your thought, because I'm going to transition to something else. Go for it.
Oh no, I was just like, even continuing the chapter with the mushroom head, you're kind of like, yeah, I know he's not dead because we do see his other, his body reform. So
his body's like forming back, yeah.
But we are aware that Kaiju's hearts are like placed differently, so I'm wondering where his are. And also, remember in the last chapter, there's like other stuff moving around where Kefla was before. So I'm like, was that also part of him?
Is he like reproducing? Is he leaving? Are these like all maybe parts of his core?
Yeah.
So you have to kill like all of them, kind of.
I mean, he does remind me of like a mushroom, and like mushrooms are kind of like. Don't they like kind of grow?
Fungus like spread and they grow off of things. Yeah, exactly.
But go ahead.
Sorry. The question I guess that I'm gonna throw to you, and I guess kind of this recurring theme that I'm seeing a little bit so far already is Reno keeps getting into these situations where he's powerless, and particularly on pages 16 and 17 for basically like the 2-page spread where like Reno's basically passed out and he's like, oh, I forced him to transform again. What do you think the repercussions of that are going to be? Like, how do you think that's going to integrate into the story? For example, just to give you something hypothetical to work with, would you think that Reno would end up also getting a kaiju power? And if so, would that make them rivals? Would they become a team? Like, how would that go, kind of thing?
I don't think I mean, the story could go so many ways because we just don't have a lot of information from just right now we're just dealing with this enemy and we need to like get past this enemy. But I'm pretty sure after this arc, I would think his character will want to like, I need to grow stronger. I need to do this. There will be like a training-esque arc. We'll probably see. If anything, I don't think he'll get if he won't get a kaiju form or kaiju abilities, he'll probably get like there's probably other suits that we don't know about. There's probably like prototype suit upgrades.
And maybe one like specifically, he'll be like the only one to be able to use it for some odd reason.
Yeah, because he's one of the he could like really use the suit as of right now to like one of its highest potential, right? So like I'm pretty sure there's another suit that there's probably like prototype maybe could be on par to the Kaiju number 8, like its power, the way he punches and everything. So
yeah,
or speed or more towards speed. Who's to say? But like
I can see that.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see him. Because like the way he uses different rounds against the Kaiju was pretty like quick, and like the way he was dodging some of the bullets and stuff like that was just like quick thinking. So that would be pretty cool to honestly see. And like I want to see the other like squad mates kind of develop too, maybe during the training after this whole thing. But as I'll definitely want to see that. But because he is gonna feel regret, like, man, I mean, he said himself, I forced him to change again, so, you know, he's tired of, feeling helpless. And like, and obviously he's not helpless or useless as like a fighter, but it's just that the scaling is just so high for humans, at least recently. Whereas like, man, these kaijus are getting kind of more serious now. Where,
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, like, just kaiju's becoming more serious now, because that's kind of where my head was at. From a slightly different perspective, though, where this is actually the first kaiju we've seen that hasn't gotten blown out of the water, right? Like, it's a humanoid. It's most likely a numbered kaiju. So I'm kind of pumped for next week, because we're actually going to see what you could arguably classify as the first real fight of the series.
Yeah.
Because so far, everybody's been One Punch Man out of there.
Yeah.
This is the only guy to survive the hit so far. So personally, that's what I'm really excited for the first like real fight, where he doesn't just get to hit and walk away. There's actually going to be some, I have to use my powers a little differently. I have to develop them a little bit more than just simply a punch. And I'm looking forward to that development in the coming chapters.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he has other. I guarantee you, he has abilities he doesn't know about. Like a Kefla, I guarantee you the suit or the thing he has like, aside from like the physical enhancements, he probably has, I don't know, ice breath, or could do electrical charges, because
Yeah, I'm thinking something electric related. Yeah, just because of the artistry so far. But yeah, I can see that too.
Or like an EMP blast or something like that. Because like this guy who I still say he's like a scout or a recon or whatever. He has like fungi ability. Like he could like shoot like air. We assume it's air bullets, right? Or like pressurized air. Like yeah.
And he also dealt with their radio frequency. But like we didn't actually see him do anything. So what's the story there? I get you.
Yeah. So I guarantee you, like he will unlock more abilities, which is actually very exciting, because I'm always a fan when like his character needs to I guess abilities needs to develop, I guess, during battle. You can't really do that during training, I guess, for in his sake, because where can
what's he gonna do? Where exactly, right?
Yeah,
He'll reveal himself.
And I'm always a fan when shonen characters are very much like, okay, I need to get better, and they do it during a battle, where like it won't be, at least for me, it won't be shocking. Like, oh yeah, like of course he'll have another power that we won't know about, because we don't know much about anything right now. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, next week, look forward to the big first real fight. I don't think there's a whole lot to touch on, really. I think we kind of hit the big points of this week.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't have any other thoughts, how the fight's going to turn out?
Well, actually, that's a good question. Do you think, are we going to see the first loss here? Because to be honest, if there was a time to give him a loss, it might be right now, as weird as that sounds, because this guy doesn't seem overly interested in
fighting.
So if he ended up, if he ends up losing, that just forces different story. That would also allow for the identity to be kept secret a little bit if he got like knocked out.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna lose, but I think he'll be pushed to a corner where his abilities will have to evolve out of like instinctual like kaiju abilities thing. I think he'll be back to a corner, because we still don't know much about the Mushroom Head. At least for now, all we know, he could probably, do that super fast air fungi thing, which I think that's what it is, air pressurized, like just going crazy strong, and he could like regenerate, because we don't know where his core is at. But I think he'll be back to a corner. That's the most I can see right now, and then we'll see some crazy new ability, and then obviously afterwards we'll see the squad mates come out and like, oh well, we got 2 kaiju we gotta kill. So yeah. And then I guess the Mushroom Head will probably escape. So that's how I think that's how it's gonna go. I mean, that's like going super fast, but if I was a storyteller like that, but it's still enjoyable, that's the crazy part. Like I still like it. But it was great. Like chapter was great. Like short chapter was great. Like coming to the rescue. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's it wasn't it was just please save my friend. Okay, I'm here to save your friend in the form of the devil. and watch me kick this mushroom's ass. That's
Yeah.
basically what we're setting up for next week.
But yeah.
I guess just a couple of final thoughts. As always, phenomenal art. I've been enjoying the tone, like I've kind of been beating to death over the last few reviews. Is there's just something about the blend of comedy here with the darkness of the kaijus and the darkness of, I guess some of the art and character design again on the kaiju side. It all, I guess, on paper, it arguably shouldn't work. But when you see the product as a cohesive whole, like we are, it's really enjoyable, and
Yeah.
I really love it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too, and I can't wait for the next week. I really do hope it gets animated, and I hope it keeps going because
Oh man, I'd love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anybody watching our videos, keep this series alive. We want to see it animated.
yes,
I had two of my dreams come true this year. They were admittedly a little disappointing. Tower of God. I've been reading that for.
I think Tower of God was a great
literally
anime.
a decade, and that becoming an anime was, oh man, that was fantastic. I know. There's not as positive of a response as I would have liked. Same with God of High School, but I was reading those, like 10 years ago kind of thing, and I thought to myself, there's no way these are ever going to get animated because they're in the Korean market. It happened, and it just goes to show that, if there's enough hype and there's enough love, anything can kind of make it to the next stage. So, come on, guys, show that love to Kaiju number 8. That's what I want to see.
yeah. And on to the next thing, My Hero.